So today I got some Reddit stories to read today, so let's get into them. I moved into a house in Indiana a few months ago. It seemed perfect at the time. Not too big, not too small, decent price, quiet neighborhood. The moment I walked in and shut the door, though, I felt something was wrong. It was this heavy, uneasy feeling in my chest, like the house didn't want me there. I brushed it off as moving stress and started unpacking. The very first full day, I went into the kitchen and found one of the upper cabinets wide open. I distinctly remember closing it earlier. I shut it again and thought maybe the latch was loose. The next day, I was in the living room when I heard the cabinet creak open and then shut by itself. I walked in and it was open again. I still kept telling myself it was just an old house thing. That night it got real. I was laying in bed when I heard slow footsteps in the hallway. Not normal walking, slow, dragging steps, like someone sneaking around. They'd stop right outside my bedroom door for what felt like minutes. I lived completely alone. No pets, no roommates. I laid there frozen, listening. This happened almost every night after that. Then the nightmares started, and that's when I knew something was seriously wrong. The first bad one, I woke up from screaming. In the dream, I was in my bed, but the room was freezing. I looked up and there was a man hanging from the ceiling right above me, rope around his neck, body swaying. His face was purple and swollen, eyes bulging open, staring straight down at me. His head slowly turned even though his neck was clearly broken, and he opened his mouth like he was trying to say my name. I woke up gasping, covered in sweat. After that, the hanging man was in nearly every nightmare. Sometimes he'd be hanging in the hallway when I tried to run, sometimes in the kitchen, dripping something dark. One of the worst ones was hanging inches above my face, rope creaking, black liquid dripping from his mouth onto me. It burned. I couldn't move. His cold, dead fingers brushing my cheek right before I jolted awake. That morning I had 3 fresh scratches across my chest that weren't there when I went to sleep. I got scared enough that I bought a bunch of wooden crosses and hung them all over the house. One right above my bed, one by the front door, one in the hallway, one in the kitchen. I'm not even super religious, but I figured it couldn't hurt. It made things worse. A couple nights later, I woke up to a loud thump. The cross above my bed was on the floor, turned completely upside down. The nail was still in the wall. I hung it back up straight. The next day, the hallway cross was upside down. Then the kitchen one. No matter how many times I fixed them, they'd be inverted again. One afternoon, I came home from the store and every single cross in the house was flipped upside down at the same time. That really shook me. The activity kept escalating hard. Cabinets would slam so loud it sounded like they were going to break. Footsteps followed me from room to room, even during the day. I'd feel ice-cold hands grab my shoulder or brush my back of my neck. The whispers turned into clear voices saying my name and telling me to stay. Sometimes I'd hear laughing, low and nasty, coming from inside the walls. The final straw came one night. I woke up around 3 a.m. to every cabinet in the kitchen slamming open and shutting at the same time, super fast, like something was raging. When I got up to check, the hanging man was standing in the hallway, fully visible, rope still around his neck, head tilted at that horrible angle. He wasn't in a dream this time. He took a dragging step towards me. I ran back into my room, locked the door, and didn't come out until daylight. That same morning, I found new scratches all over my arms. I couldn't take it anymore. The fear was constant. I was barely sleeping, jumping at every sound, and I felt like I was losing my mind. 2 days later, I packed up whatever I could as fast as possible, loaded my car, and got out of there. I didn't even clean the place or give a proper notice. I just left the keys on the counter and drove away. stayed late at school to get a notebook I had left in my locker, and I did not expect anything unusual, but as soon as I walked in, it felt different. The halls were quiet and empty, and the usual sounds of the school were gone. I started walking towards my locker, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw a shadow move, but when I looked directly there, was nothing there. I heard a soft scraping sound behind me like someone dragging their feet, but no one was there. My heart started beating faster, but I told myself it was probably just the echo of my own footsteps. When I bent down to grab my notebook, I felt like someone was right behind me, and I froze. The silence pressed in, and then I heard slow, deliberate footsteps following me as I walked down the hall. I called out, but there was no answer, and the lights flickered once before going out, leaving me in a dim emergency light. Halfway to the door, I thought I heard my name whispered for a moment. I panicked, feeling something was watching me. I froze for a second, and in that moment, I saw a dark shape moving quickly around the corner of the classroom and disappear. My heart dropped, and I started running faster than I ever had, trying not to trip on the tiles as I reached the main door and stepped outside. As soon as I locked the door behind me, the feeling lifted, but I was shaking all the way home. That night, when I checked my phone, I found a short video I do not remember recording, showing an empty hallway, and at the very end you could hear slow footsteps and a faint whisper of my name. Months later, a couple of friends told me they had also stayed late at school, and each of them had experiences similar, with doors moving on their own, footsteps when no one was there, and strange cold spots in empty hallways. One friend even said she saw something move out of the corner of her eye, but when she turned, there was nothing there. I never stayed late again, and now whenever I walk past the school at night, I get a sinking feeling like something is still inside the empty halls watching, and I do not know what it is, but I regret ever going back to the school after hours, and I will never make that mistake again. I was traveling between my hometown and my mother's here in Queensland, Australia. It was about 11 p.m. during summer. It was much easier and much more cooler to travel at night than during the day. Less traffic to deal with and less heat. The trip takes about 5 hours. I had a friend with me catching a lift to see her sister for a few days. She is a no-nonsense, straightforward kind of person. It was about halfway through the trip, dark narrow roads, through the mountains, no streetlights, no houses, just empty bushland as far as you can see. Traveling this time of night can be dangerous because of wildlife, but I had a big 4x4 with a big bull bar, so hitting something does minimal damage. We were just coming in another set of ranges, doing about 80. I didn't have my spotlights on because of blind corners, and I didn't want to blind anyone, but I could pretty much burn bunnies at 1,000 meters. I came around another blind corner, and there, standing in the middle of the road, was what looked like a scarecrow. Something you never see in Australia. I had a little time to react and pretty much plowed it over. I felt the thud and heard it go underneath and out the back. I quickly pulled over to see what it was and how much damage it had caused. It was a pretty significant thud. I turned around and went back. We both got out, started to look around. There was a bit of straw stuck in the corner of my bull bar, about a handful on the ground and nothing else. I chucked all the lights on, then to get a better view of the area surrounding us, thinking I had hit something crazy, and he was laying in a ditch. We couldn't find anything. Nothing on the road, apart for a good handful of straw. Nothing in the bush. We even went walking with torches. Nothing stuck under my ute. Just a bit of straw stuck in the bull bar, with a few new scratches in the paint. After about 15 minutes of looking around, we hopped back in and went on our way. My friend was white as a ghost, stating that she was sure she saw a scarecrow. She was positive. I was absolutely positive as well. The evidence left behind told the story as well. Well, we couldn't find a lick of evidence anywhere. To this day, we are unsure of what we hit, and it still gives me chills. Can someone shed some light, experiences similar to this? Because it has me bothered. Okay, that was today's video. I hope you enjoyed these 3 little stories I found on Reddit. I had fun reading them. I done a little bit of a different scenery in mind. I think this looks a little bit better. Thank you to the comment who suggested it. But I have a video idea in mind for this weekend, and I decided to post every Wednesday and a video on the weekend. So hopefully I can go and get that video idea filmed so I can just put it on the weekend for this weekend. And a little announcement, I actually made a Discord server, so I'm still working on it. I need some people to help me moderate it and stuff, so whenever I get that done, I'll make an announcement and put the link in the description so that you guys can join and talk and hang out, and then give me video suggestions, all sorts of fun stuff. But until then, I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you for watching.